Hey, what's up? This is Sports Truth, and I'm Jordan Harris, your host. So today's video, I'm really excited about it. We've got a whole lot of stuff to cover. I'm going to be doing this segment called Your Questions Answered. So I made a video recently about how Tyler Van Dyke, in my opinion, needs to be sat for the rest of the year. And I'm just saying, just blame it on the injury and just say, okay, Tyler Van Dyke, unfortunately, his injuries came back to haunt him this year. We're going to shut him down for the rest of the year, and we're going to start Emory Williams going forward. So I made that video, and one of the comments that I got made me say, I think this is something that we probably should publicly respond to so other people can chime in and have a discussion based on that. I did go around and look at other people's videos, other Miami fans' videos, to see if these same opinions were in the comment section, and I kept seeing the same question over and over in all of these different videos in the comment section. So I was like, I'm going to do a segment called Your Questions Answered, and we're going to put these questions on the board, and we're going to answer them in one streamlined video. It does look like, thankfully, everybody's on the same accord as far as Tyler Van Dyke needing to sit down. I think everybody is pretty firm on the idea of benching Tyler Van Dyke finally. For a good while, it seemed like, especially before this North Carolina State game, people were opposed to my opinion, which I was saying bench him before the North Carolina State game. But other people were like, go ahead and keep him in. He's done some good things for the youth, so let's keep him in there. But now it seems like everybody's on the same accord, and they're saying a QB change needs to be made. So let's get into what the question is. I'm sure a lot of you are wondering, what the heck is the question? What are you talking about? So this is the question here. Shout out to the Achilles 13. He asked this question, and he said, bro, do you know we have Brown at quarterback as well? Does he mean anything to you? Hello? So this is the comment that he made to me. And I saw this same type of statement, not from him, but in the same type of question, not from him, but from other people on all kinds of platforms. People are saying, why are you favoring Williams over Brown? Why is nobody giving Brown the opportunity? Why is Brown being overlooked? So I figure it's a good idea to put a video together and let's talk about why Brown is being quote unquote overlooked. Because in my opinion, he's not being overlooked. There's just things that people don't quite understand right now. So let's get into that. All right. First, I want to do some disclaimers because I got to make sure I get these points across, or people are going to point to those. They'll be blinded and deaf by these things unless I put these disclaimers out there. Every statement I make, they're going to say, well, this could have happened, well, that could have happened. So let me go ahead and put those out there right now. Disclaimer number one, Miami's offensive line is drastically improved from last year. No doubt about that. Drastically improved. So let's put that disclaimer out there. Another one, Miami's overall roster is dramatically improved, at least in my opinion. I think our talent is far better than it was last year. Another disclaimer, and this is just going to help my arguments going forward. Another disclaimer is Clemson is not as good this year as they were last year. That's just a fact. You can look at their record. You can look at their talent. It's all down this year compared to last year and the year before that. The next disclaimer is a lot of improvements can be made by a player over a span of a year. That's true. You can see one player today, and 1 year later they could be totally different, much improved. That's a fact. The last thing I want to say is I'm a Hurricanes fan. I don't have any favorites as far as these players go. I don't know any of them personally. I don't know one Hurricanes player personally. Honestly, I don't care to. I respect them. God bless them all, but I don't know anybody personally. I just want the team to win. I don't care who plays. As long as the best player is playing and we're winning, I don't care. So I don't have a favorite. So I want to get those out the way. Okay? So there's two reasons why people are quote-unquote overlooking Jacurri Brown. The first thing is he's listed as the third-string quarterback. So when people are saying start Emory Williams, like I was saying, It's not because I'm saying I prefer Emory Williams over Brown. It's just that I know Emory is listed as the second string quarterback. And 99.9% of position changes in NBA, NFL, college football, college basketball, high school, Pee Wee League, whatever sport, whatever grade level or level you're talking about in sports, if there's ever a change being made, 99.9% of the time, it will go from the first string to the second string. You will hardly ever go from first to third. I don't know why that would ever happen, but yeah, it's always going to be, not always, 99.9% of the time, first string, second string. And there's a lot of people out there who are somehow saying that Emory Williams and Brown are not second and third string. They're supposed to be equal somehow, like they're both second string. And my argument to that is, if that was the case, Brown would have started against Clemson this year. They wouldn't have started Emory Williams against Clemson. They started Brown. They started Williams. So the fact that Williams started against Clemson proves that he's a second string. So that's the main reason why people are saying put Williams in. If Brown was listed as a second string quarterback, I would be saying put Brown in there. I don't care who it is. As long as it's not Tyler Van Dyke, put the second person in charge or second person on the depth chart, put him in the game. So people aren't overlooking Brown because we don't like him or whatever it may be. It's just that he's listed as the third string quarterback. Okay, so that's the first reason why. The second reason why people are saying that they want Williams to start instead of Brown is because the game tape. So when you have game tape that's out there that is as bad as the game tape that we got from Brown against Clemson last year, it's hard to ignore that. And I know a lot of people like myself, like I am a little hesitant to see Brown go out there right now because of what he did last year against Clemson. He had a game before Clemson. I'm struggling to think of who that was against. Georgia Tech, I think it was. He beat Georgia Tech, and then he played against Clemson, and the game tape in that was rough. So I'm going to go through a few of the reasons why it was rough. So his pocket presence was abysmal. It was bad. Like on a scale of 0 to 10, if 10 is like Peyton Manning's skill level as far as pocket presence, and 0 was Zach Wilson for the Jets, Brown was like at a 2.5 maybe. It was really bad. So, for one, his eyes just had panic written all over it. I'm not talking about looking in the guy's eyes when he's playing, because obviously we can't see that from the TV. What I'm talking about when I say eyes is when you're watching a quarterback, you want their eyes to be fixed on the play that's going on down the field. With Jacurri Brown, anytime he would get the ball, he would get the snap, and he would step back, instead of his eyes being fixated on his receivers going down the field, he would look at his first read, and then the next place that his eyes would go, it wouldn't be to his next read or his read after that. It would go straight down at the defensive players coming towards him. So he would get the snap, he'd look at his first read, and if that guy's not open, he starts looking down and around, all around him to see where the defensive linemen are coming from. And then he gets happy feet and then take off running. So he would look at one read and run every time. I'm like, well, you're not even letting the play develop. So part of the reason why it's important, and I'm not some quarterback guru, but part of the reason why it's important to like watch the play develop is when you get the ball and you see one receiver and you see how the defense, let's say they're in a cover 2. If you see this receiver is covered through this first window, and you say, oh, yeah, he's going to be open in that second window, and you give him a little bit of patience, and then you throw it to that second window. But if he's covered in that first window, and then you put your eyes down, and then you're looking at the defenders coming all around you, by the time you look up, it's a totally different play. You don't know what you're looking at. So that's why he was so puzzled and didn't know what was going on. One good analogy that I can think of, just off the top of my head, if you have a football and you toss the football up in the air and you keep looking at it, it's pretty easy to catch it by the time it comes down. But if you throw a football in the air and then you look down at something else and then you look back up before it's time to catch it, it's a lot harder to catch because you didn't see the development of the ball going all the way up and coming back down to your hands. That's the struggle that Jacurri Brown is facing right now. He sees the play, then he looks down at other things coming around him, and then he looks back up and the play looks totally different, and it's hard to react to what he sees because he has to react just like that. It's not realistic. So that was one of the issues. It's one read, run, and then his eyes kept dropping down and looking at the wrong thing, which was the defense. Instead of feeling the pressure and moving and sliding, he was actually looking down at it and just messing everything up after that. The other part about the game tape was his internal clock, like his pocket presence. Like I said earlier, it was bad. One part of that was his internal clock. He just would get the ball and just, instead of moving around in the pocket, a lot of the times he just would stand there or he would hold the ball. And I'm thinking, man, it's time to get rid of the ball, throw it out of bounds, do something. He would just hold it and get sacked. Or we have some tape to look at in a little bit, but he didn't know when to get rid of the ball. It was pretty obvious of that. There was one play, speaking of the internal clock, where he gave up a safety, and this was in the third quarter, I believe, of last year's Clemson game. He had the ball on the 9-yard. The ball was snapped on the 9-yard line. He retreated 9 yards back, and then they sacked him in the end zone. He gave up a safety. That cannot happen, Division I football. To drift back 9 yards and take a safety cannot happen. Okay. Another part of the game tape that we've got to talk about is the fact that he missed open receivers, or I should say he missed wide open receivers. Like I remember the first drive, Xavier Restrepo was wide open for a touchdown, like a 70-yard touchdown. I'm going to pull this up on the tape too so you can see it. He was open for a 70-something yard touchdown, and he just missed him. Totally missed him. So let's pull this up real quick. But yeah, it was a missed coverage. Restrepo took off down the field. Restrepo's right here. He's going to take off down the field. Easy touchdown. And he overthrew it. That would have been, start the game off 7-7. You never know what happens. Once the pressure gets on other people, you don't know what Clemson might do if the game starts off 7-7 instead of 7-0 like it did, and then 14-0, and then it just jumped and turned into whatever it turned into. I think it was 40-10 by the end of the game. So, missing stuff like that, if you have opportunities like that against Florida State, you have to capitalize on those every single time. You've got to capitalize on them, especially when you go in on the road as an underdog. You can't miss those kind of opportunities, or it's going to snowball on you real quick, and people around you are going to start quitting real fast. So he missed wide open receivers. At 8:26 in the third quarter, he missed another touchdown where he had somebody go up on an out route. He just sailed it over the top of him, just missed it. 3 minutes and 38 seconds, he missed Will Mallory on an out route that would have resulted in a first down. Will Mallory ran like a 7-yard up and then went straight out. And instead of him putting him between the numbers, he let him way far outside. He just missed him, threw the ball out of bounds, missed him. That would have been a first down. So that's another concern is missing open receivers that's tough. If especially when you're in a tough game like against Clemson or Florida State, whatever it may be, you cannot miss these open receivers and give up these first downs. And then the yardage. Let's talk about the yardage, the offensive yardage in this game. So he started against Clemson. He ended up getting pulled in the fourth quarter because it just did not go well at all, anywhere. It did not go well. So yardage, Miami, and I'm just recapping this because a lot of y'all probably forgot. This happened last year. Miami had 8 yards at the end of the first half. I'm not saying Jacurri Brown ran for 8 yards. I'm not saying the running backs had 8 yards. I'm saying we had 8 total yards of football, total yards offense, 8 yards at the end of the first half. To finish the game, we had 98 yards for the whole game. That's passing and rushing. 98 total yards for the whole game. That would be tough if he was playing against the Jet. I mean, if he was playing against some NFL team, that would be tough. He's playing against Clemson. You get 98 yards, and I believe Garcia came in, and he ended up getting like 50 something of those yards in the fourth quarter. So to play 3 full quarters, let's say 3 full quarters plus like a part of the fourth quarter, and to only have 58 yards or so for the whole thing, rushing and passing, that is rough, man. So those two things combined, like when you have poor game tape, and then when you're listed as the third quarterback on on the depth chart, people are typically not going to say put him in. If you're the third string quarterback and you had tape as bad as you had against Clemson last year, people are probably not going to be pointing and saying, "Now forget this Emory Williams guy. Put him in." Like that's just not realistic. So, and then another thing that I will say is I don't watch practice every day. I don't want to watch practice every day. I have 100 or something employees that need my attention on a daily basis. I don't want to go watch practice every day. Um, I do know who does watch practice every day, though, and that's the coaches. The offensive coordinator watches it every single day. Mario Cristobal watches practice every single day. They're watching practice. They know who's performing. Like, we can guess on who's performing. We can guess on how good somebody is, but we ain't have to practice every day. So, I mean, people can do all the talking and all the guessing that they want to do, but these coaches are at the practice every day. Their jobs are on the line. They're going to put out there whoever's performing the best. Do you think they really are going to put Emory Williams out there because they think he's a good guy and his character is so much better? Like, no, they putting the person out there they think is going to perform the best. So apparently Williams is performing better than Brown is in practice. And part of the reason why I'm concerned about Williams playing is because if Tyler Van Dyke has been this bad, if he's been this bad and they won't replace him, then it makes me say Williams and Brown must not be doing too much in practice. They must not be looking so great, or some kind of change would have happened a long time ago. Let's just be honest. If you have your starting quarterback who is struggling every day, and then you have a backup who's showing some real strides and they look like they might be able to make a change in this locker room and on the field, 95% of the coaches in the world would say, put the backup in. But the fact that they are super hesitant to put Williams in makes me concerned about him. The fact that Williams played against Clemson and they babied him as much as they did with all of those bubble screens and all of those handoffs, that concerns me. So I'm just putting that out there too. I'm not a huge Williams fan. I just know we need to have some type of replacement for Tyler Van Dyke immediately. And I said last time that I would be open to them putting a receiver at quarterback, and that sounds like a joke. I'm not joking. If it was down to Tyler Van Dyke and some receiver, I would say put the receiver there. I cannot see Tyler Van Dyke throw another football for the Hurricanes in good conscience. I can't do it. So I do want to end on a good note, though. So let's say, because I know people are going to feel like I'm bashing Brown. I swear I'm not trying to. I'm just explaining why people are saying put Williams in and hardly anybody is saying put Brown in. The reason why is, I just wanted to get that out there, but I want to end on a positive note. So first, I'm not opposed to Brown starting, or I don't care. Like, put him in there. I don't care. I just want people to win. I'm not opposed to him playing. But one of the reasons why Jacurri would be a good starter for this game, or even, maybe doing half and half the snaps, or maybe making some packages for him, whatever they decide to do. One of the reasons why it would be good to have Brown in the game is because, obviously, like, you guys are football fans, if you have a drop back quarterback who's never going to run the ball, that just takes away, that's one thing that they don't have to be concerned about. But if you put somebody in there who's got wheels like Brown got, that does make them have to concern themselves with him potentially running every play. So instead of them just rushing 4 and dropping 7, they're going to rush 4, drop 6, and keep one spy in the middle. So that's going to take away one player at least, because they have to be so focused on him running the ball. So that is one reason why I think it would be If they did start Brown, I'd be like, okay, we're gonna actually make Florida State have to think about something else that they haven't had to think about for a little while playing against Miami. But yeah, it, if whoever does start against this Florida State team, it's gonna be a tall task. Let's just be honest. And I was talking to my wife earlier today. If we somehow pulled off an upset and won, I wouldn't be totally shocked. I've seen all kinds of people talking about we're gonna get killed, we're gonna get killed, and I'm like, hey man, honestly, I think talent-wise, we are not. I'm just about ready to say we're pretty even as far as talent goes. The only position that I think we are behind on is the quarterback. I think our running backs are just as good, or if not better. Offensive line, just as good, if not better. Defensive line, just as good, if not better. Receivers, I think they got the edge on the receivers, but we're not far behind on that. But yeah, I think talent-wise, we're pretty even. If Tyler Van Dyke if he did start, and he showed us one of those A level Tyler Van Dyke games that we've seen him play before, I do think we would end up winning the game. I just know that he's not gonna do that. That's not how he gets down anymore. But anyways, I appreciate you watching the video. Please do leave comments. Let me know what your thoughts are on this crazy topic here. I know people are upset that Brown is not getting mentioned as much as they think he should be, which is why I wanted to make this video, just to explain, like, nobody dislikes the guy. These are the reasons why. Like, there's actual reasons why people aren't mentioning him, and everybody's talking about putting Emory Williams in the game. So please do leave your comments. We are on a goal. We're reaching a goal, or I should say we're fighting towards reaching a goal of 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. It's November 7th. We've still got 50-plus days before the end of the year. We want to get 1,000 subscribers. I think right now, the last time I checked, we were just like right around 60 or so. So it's not just my responsibility. I'm putting this responsibility on y'all too. So please do tell your friends, like the video, subscribe. The more you like the video, the more that YouTube puts this video in front of other people so they can watch it and they can become subscribers too. I do set lofty goals. I'm all about that. As you see right here, I really believe this. If you can dream it, you can do it. So I'm all about that I'm all about that vibe. All about that vibe. So yeah, I appreciate you watching the video. That's all that I got for you today. God bless. Take care. Peace.